Next question is Daniel Koner on Apple Podcasts. He asks, why should I become a fan of a certain player in MLS if ultimately that player will be gone in a year or two? Example, Almada with Atlanta United. And why does MLS and clubs not try and retain these players instead of shipping them off to Europe? That what he's reacting to there is Thiago Almada came out recently and said he absolutely wants to leave MLS during this window and go to Europe.
This is such a good question because it gets to the root of what fandom is, I guess what MLS fandom is, more importantly, because you're absolutely right in that MLS players, whether they're domestic or whether they're international, for the most part, are looking at MLS as a stepping stone, are looking at MLS as a platform from which to show their wares until something hopefully comes along that is bigger and better. That's just the reality of what MLS is in 2023. And look, don't get me wrong, the incredible growth over the last almost 30 years of MLS is something that should be celebrated. But it's still not at the level yet in terms of the credibility and in terms of the perception out there that leagues around the world are, and in particular, and mostly, let's be honest, leagues in Europe. So, why should you, Daniel, care about a player if that player is going to move on? Well, first off, the world of sports, all right, is not as it was 20, 30, 40 years ago. So the movement of player should not shake you to your core, whether you're an adult or whether you're a kid. This happens in sports, and it happens regularly in sports, even at the highest levels of sport. You know, we were just talking about Kane, so it happens obviously in soccer, and certainly it happens in other sports. The amount of players that are one-team players are minuscule. So a player moving on should not wreck your world. Okay, this player, and you mentioned Almada. Well, when you look at Almiron, okay, what you hope that happens is that player goes on and is a messenger for your team that I'm assuming you love, and by extension, your market, your community, your city, and I guess your country and your league. And Almiron, every single time he steps on the field, there is that MLS connection. And I hope you take some sort of pride in that connection. I would love nothing more, Daniel, than for that to change around where players, they're not looking for better things. They're not looking for greener pastures. They're saying, this is where I want to play, and this is where I want to play forever. But we're not at that point going forward. But again, I don't think that should be necessary for you to give of your time, and I guess of your heart, and certainly of your wallet and pocketbook out there to a team, simply because these players will be moving on. So, I mean, I get it, and that is something that MLS needs to not fix, but aspire to change, where those aspirations for those players are to play in MLS, whether they're growing up and that's playing for their home team is all they ultimately want to do, or whether they're coming from the outside and recognize, you know what, this is my destination. I might have used a different platform in order to get that move that fulfills a dream, and that's coming to MLS. We're a long way off, but yeah, your players will be, if they're really, really good, chances are, unless they're built differently, and I guess Diego Valeri or others out there, they're going to be gone. But that, that's part of sports, I guess, is my ultimate answer. Mosse?
Thiago Almada, a World Cup winner with Argentina last year, which is a triumph you're going to revisit next. How's that for a tease?
You like that clip? Well, my State of the Union podcast drops twice a week right here on my very own YouTube page. The only way to stay up to date is to hit that subscribe button down below. Size the day, and see you soon.